My cousin massively overstepped when I had my daughter. She called her by the wrong name, set up a nursery at her house, and ended up in a psych ward. When I found out I was pregnant with my first baby, I cried in my husband Lee's arms. We'd been together for 6 years and had been trying to expand our family for the last 2. We waited until the second trimester before we told our friends and family, but when we did, the influx of support and love was huge, except for my cousin Keely. Keely and I grew up together, close in age but not in temperament. Where I learned to wait my turn, Keely learned that if she wanted something badly enough, someone would eventually give in just to stop her tantrums. She'd always been spoiled, dramatic, and the loudest presence in any room. I had learned over the years to keep her at arm's length. The moment she found out I was pregnant, that distance disappeared. At first it seemed harmless. She was excited, overly so, but still within the realm of normal. She started texting me every day. She sent links to baby products that I hadn't asked for. She talked about our baby in a way that made my skin prickle. But I convinced myself that she just meant the whole family was welcoming my child. Keely had always been intense, so I tried to just put it down to her excitement. But then she tried to come to my doctor's appointments. She didn't ask me. She found out when the next appointment was, and she told me, "I'll meet you there," as if it were obvious that she belonged in the room. When I said no, gently at first, she laughed like I was joking. When I said no again, firmly, she sulked for days and told anyone who would listen that I was shutting her out. I only wanted one of 2 people with me at my appointments, my husband or my mom. These were special moments, and they were intimate. I love Keely, but I don't like spending time with her, and I don't want to share those moments with her. She gave up trying to attend my appointments, but when I started planning a gender reveal party, she showed back up in full force. Lee and I wanted something small, just immediate family and cupcakes with colored filling. Keely announced she would host it. When I told her we already had plans, she sent out invitations anyway. She made demands about decorations, food, and themes. She criticized my mother's suggestions and argued with Lee's sister over balloons. In the end, I sent a text to the family group chat and told everyone that our party was being hosted at my mom's house and that any other invites that had been sent out weren't anything to do with us. Keely was furious. She sent texts to the group chat where she announced her party was still being hosted and I was expected to show up. I politely replied that I was tired and could only manage one party, which was the one at my mom's. I thanked her for being thoughtful but made it clear I didn't want to, nor would I attend her party. Keely showed up to my mom's house on the day of the party and was clearly sulking the whole time. When it came time for Lee and I to cut the cake to reveal our baby's gender, Keely actually tried to take hold of the knife to do it for us. Her mom, my Aunt Mary, pulled her away, but it left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. We cut the cake and revealed pink frosting inside. Everyone cheered and clapped, but Keely began crying. The baby shower was worse. Keely arrived early and immediately took control, rearranging tables, commenting on gift choices, pulling people aside to complain about how tacky certain gifts were. I watched her hold up a onesie someone had lovingly picked out and wrinkle her nose like it offended her. I felt humiliated on behalf of my friends and family. My joy was dulled by embarrassment. I spent the whole party apologizing to people. As my due date got closer, Keely started showing up at my house, not to help paint the nursery, or to do simple things like bring a meal or fold laundry, or even just ask how I was feeling. She would sit on my couch for hours at a time, watching me waddle around, swollen and exhausted, but not offering to help. She made me uncomfortable in my own home. If I hinted that I needed rest, she ignored it. If I asked if she could grab something for me, she'd sigh and do it slowly, like I was inconveniencing her. By the time I went into labor, I was so tired, emotionally and physically, that I felt numb. Lee drove me to the hospital in the middle of the night, gripping the steering wheel and asking me how I was doing every few minutes. I focused on breathing, on the fact that soon all of this pain would be worth it. Our daughter was born just after sunrise, 7 pounds 4 ounces, and absolutely perfect. I cried harder than I ever had in my life. Lee cried too, his face crumpling as he whispered, "Hi, Avery." The name we had picked out finally just a couple of weeks ago after poring over names for months. Lee had called my mom, and she showed up an hour before Avery entered the world. Mom and Lee took it in turns to hold Avery and hug me, and I managed to get a couple of hours of sleep. Mom sent a text to the family group chat, a photo of Avery's tiny hand with the words, "Welcome baby Avery." Apparently, this was all unforgivable to Keely. She arrived at the hospital furious. She stormed into the room with a bag in her hand and accusations on her tongue. She demanded to know why she hadn't been called, why she hadn't been in the delivery room, why she had been excluded. And then she pulled out a onesie. It was white, and embroidered across the chest in pink cursive was the name Rebecca. My stomach dropped. "We never told you that name," I said slowly. She smiled like she knew something I didn't. "I just knew," she said. "It fits her better." She reached for Avery. I tightened my arms around my baby and said, "You need to leave." Keely laughed and then frowned when she realized I wasn't joking. She said I was emotional and delirious and I was not thinking clearly. She said I needed her, that she knew what was best and that she was staying because I didn't know what I wanted right now. I looked at Lee. I said, "I only want you and Mom here. I want to bond with our daughter." Keely's face twisted. In the end, security escorted her out while she screamed that I was making a mistake. The texts started immediately and didn't stop for hours. 2 days later, I was home, sore and fragile and trying to adjust to life with a newborn. I logged onto Facebook to respond to kind messages from friends and family, and that's when I saw it. "Meet Rebecca," Keely had written. Below it were photos of a nursery I had never seen. A crib, toys, blankets, and clothes. She even had pink wooden letters spelling out Rebecca on the wall above the crib. And then a photo of Avery, taken in the hospital. My hands shook as I commented, demanding she remove the photo and demanding she stop calling my daughter Rebecca. Keely showed up at my house that afternoon. She brought a basket of clothes and a blanket. She demanded to hold Avery and take photos to document their bond. Then she said what she had really come to say. She wanted to watch Avery 2 days a week, maybe an overnight visit, and get some real one-on-one time with her. She said Avery's name needed to be changed. I said no, absolutely not. And that's when she unraveled completely. She screamed that she was family, that I couldn't keep Avery from her, and that she had rights. She continued posting online, showing off clothes she had made, talking about how Rebecca was being kept from her by a selfish mother. I documented everything, took screenshots, noted the dates and times. I was exhausted and furious that the first weeks of my daughter's life were being hijacked by someone else's obsession. I called my Aunt Mary, Keely's mom. We talked through tears and options and fear. Mary promised to get her help. But when Keely found out that she was not invited to Christmas because my family would be there, she lost what little control she had left. She threw a brick through my living room window and was caught on my Ring doorbell doing it. She was arrested and underwent a psychological evaluation. They admitted her inpatient that day. I still don't know what triggered this. I may never know. What I do know is this. Avery is asleep in her crib, safe and loved and exactly who she is meant to be. And now, finally, I get to enjoy motherhood the way I should have from the very beginning. If you enjoyed this reading, please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future stories. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. This has been Tales by Rachel, where we breathe life into every story.